We're the ones who are willing to kill. Mostly kill. Sometimes they say kill or die, but other people do the dying for the people who make the money. But they sound so brave. You all know that the biggest warmongers that are leaving our country today are the people who got deferments 5 and 6 times. So they're the chicken hawks. My guts, your blood. But the important thing to understand is, as we bear this in mind, is that the people who demand peace are the people of courage. The people who are willing to sit down at a table with somebody with whom they have serious issues are the people of courage. We've got to reframe this idea that people who want peace are people who lack patriotism or courage, and put it in the true context, which is a lot tougher to sit down with the adversary and work out a serious problem than it is just to push a button and sit down to obliterate. And now that I have the word obliterate, I hope that everybody understands the importance of avoiding leaders who want to obliterate. Has that lost anybody?
In many places in our country, yes.
Yeah, it was. Well, now I can wrap up by talking about Iraq. Sami's done an great job talking about Iraq. I don't probably have to talk much about Iraq. I would say I've been to Iraq, and I've learned a lot of things, far more than I can tell you right here. What I will say about Iraq, however, is I remember flying over Baghdad in a Black Hawk helicopter, and it was 140 degrees, that thing said. It was hot.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah.
We could.
And what happened is that as we flew over the city at nighttime, Baghdad is 7,000 years old. It's pretty old. It's been around a long time. When the U.S. soldiers allowed the looting of the museums, we do know that about 7,000 years of history was just scattered to the four winds. 7,000 years of art, culture, history, learning. Baghdad used to be a place where they had an institution called the House of Wisdom. Before Europe even conceived of a university, there were universities in Baghdad. Do you realize that? Does that strike at, cultural, ethnocentristic views, that people may hold? House of Wisdoms existed before Oxford. Ellison University in Cairo existed before Oxford. In fact, many people believe that the Renaissance was sparked by Islamic science and astronomy and medical research. So what I'll say about it is, as I flew over this beautiful city, this ancient city, this history of great history and learning at nighttime, in 140-degree weather, I looked over this city, which is a vast, sprawling city, and saw no lights like you might expect to see over a regular city. No lights. No big buildings lit up. No outdoor porches. And trust me, there was a time when they had plenty of lights in Baghdad. And it wasn't that long ago. Am I right about that, Sam? But now, it was black. And all I could see were the fires. And they weren't scattered fires of people's houses burning. They were controlled fires. Because people have to use something to get some light and cook. So they just saw this fire, little fires around. And that image, because I'm not really one who's going to focus so much on the stats and everything. I'm going to get an emotional reaction before any other kind. And I just thought to myself, wow, this means that there's probably no refrigeration. There's probably no night lights so that a mother can keep her son or daughter from being scared at night like you and I might do for our 7-year-old, right? This means that every day somebody has to go out into probably what is a pretty dangerous street to try to get something for the family to eat. And if it's particularly dangerous that day, they can't go out. Because they can't refrigerate any food because there's no electricity working. And what about just a simple act of flushing the toilet? flushing the toilet. You know, conservative estimates have the death toll in Iraq of about 150. I believe it's probably closer to 1 million people. This is a country of about 29 million people.
25, but it's scattered now.
Right? 25 million.
1/5 is displaced.
1/5 is displaced. Think about this. If even that very conservative, incorrectly low estimate of 150,000 is what the accurate number is, just assuming for a moment, that means that not one single Iraqi family is untouched by death and refugee displacement. Not one single Iraqi family is in peace as a result of what our government did. Now, some people are thinking, well, Saddam did, he did it. He's the one. That's just not true. Saddam Hussein was a dictator. He was a bad leader, and he abused people. But compared to the punishing things that we've done since 2003, I don't know, Sam, you correct me. I think we've added a whole new layer of suffering on the backs of the Iraqi people. And I think that, it's one thing to be responsible, it's one thing to be guilty. I don't think the American people are guilty of what happened to the Iraqi people, but I think we are responsible. And responsibility means we have an obligation to do something about it. And although guilt has to do with people who intentionally destroyed that country, we can say we're not guilty of that because we were protesting against it to try to stop it, but we are responsible, and we do have an obligation. Let me just tell you, next week there'll be another Iraq appropriation before the Congress. Obviously, I'll be going against sending any more money to Iraq. Continue to keep the pressure up. I want you to know that the thinkers, the co-thinkers, are at the Capitol every day raising hell. And you'd be proud of them. They get in the way. They're getting in the way. They're getting in the way, and they're making a lot of noise, and they're causing a lot of trouble. Thank God. God bless them all. I want you to know that overwhelming majority of people in the Democratic caucus will vote against the Iraqi appropriation. One of the things that I found particularly surprising and frustrating is that we're in the majority, and the majority caucus votes against the appropriation, yet if you have all 190 Republicans and about 40 Democrats, it passes. That's discouraging. We need to target these people who vote for this stuff and make it very clear that we do not approve of what they're doing. And make it abundantly clear. I wish these things would never even come up for a vote. If we're in the majority, and I want you to know, a lot of people have made it clear to our leadership, deny it from coming to the floor. Just don't let it come to the floor. We won't even have to vote on it. Just don't let it come up. And yet, the leadership is, and I'll tell you this, and this is where you guys might get a little annoyed with me, but I can tell you that Nancy Pelosi is against this war. She is. I sit in the caucus here and say it all the time. I know that she's against it. I feel that she's against it. But I also feel that she feels that if she does not allow it to come up for a vote, that it will be spun as her not supporting the troops. And there's about 40 to 50 Democrats who will accuse her. What I'm asking us to do is to continue to message to Nancy, and